Hello, everyone. All right. This is great. So today's topic, we're talking about how to build scalable teams or how to create teams that are highly scalable. The goal is to really build a team that can scale as you grow. And a little bit of background about me, I've spent about 25 years at Microsoft and Amazon, built a lot of teams, but with Esper is the first time that I've done it with a startup, and how to take a team from scratch and then kind of grow it year over year. And then we've also how to basically do it in a global scale. And I'll share with you some of my experiences and what I've learned during this time, and also what all the things that I've done in the past, and what works and what doesn't work. Let me share with you. Um, Excellent. So building scalable tech teams. This I'm going to talk about the tech teams, but in general, this applies to lots of other teams. But at Esper, we're a highly technical product. So everybody kind of is technology related or technology focused. And we want to kind of walk you through what it takes to build these type of teams. So one of the things I'm going to talk about kind of in the overall thing is the journey of Esper, and what we've done over the past 3 years that we've been in existence. And then talk about why building a scalable tech team is important. And then talk about like what are the attributes and what does it look like to build scalable tech, and then the challenges and what you can look forward to in the future when you have a scalable tech team. So let's talk off with for Esper. We came into existence in 2018, around May June timeframe, and we had our first hire, actually a couple of hires, and then immediately grew to about like 4 or 6 people, and started adding additional team members. I had basically most of this was it was just the founders on the US side, and most of this was happening in India. I actually flew in and spent almost 4 months of the first year building out the team in India. And in 2019, we had about 25 employees in India and about 4 employees in the US. And then as we flip over to 2020, we had gotten our another round of funding, and we were ready to grow again. And we were at the beginning of January, February, we had about 35 total team members, and then COVID hit. But we continued to kind of look at what ways and mechanisms where we can grow. One of the things that we did very early on was we did send everyone back home with abundance of precaution, etc. And during this same period, we almost more than doubled our India team and increased our US headcount to about 20 people in the overall. And so 88 team members. And what was really key is the way that we built our team and the how talented they were. We didn't skip a beat during all of this. Everybody was working from home all around India, from their homes in the United States, and our productivity and ability to deliver, ability to focus, and nothing changed. And that's really key. And that's one of the things that you can take away from when you build the right team, and that's really important. And 2021, we have about 15 different teams in 2 different locations, and we have 104. And our goal in 2021 will be to get to 200 team members overall. And we expect to probably exceed that. So what is building like a scalable or a team that is highly performing really important? First of all, let's talk about attracting, retaining, and growing talent. And this is really about like what that's important. Success breeds success, and people can inherently see a great team and want to be able to join it, and regardless of how they can kind of sense that this is a very capable team, and it's really important. If you have that, you will be able to add more people to the team that are just like that, and that's really important. And what it also allows you to do is when you have a scalable team is you can really align the technology and what you're building, and that everybody on the team can get behind the company strategy. That allows you to kind of build that momentum that you need as a startup, and that's really key. And the key thing is what that allows you to do is have a focus and ability to deliver, ability to be agile, adaptable, and that's on the end. What's really important is being able to ship fast, have a key, efficiency that you can execute on, and meet schedules regularly, and that's what's important. And one of the things that's key here is you have a data-driven decision making that's built into the DNA of the team, and that will allow you to kind of organize and regardless of the problems and any of the challenges that you face as you grow your company. So, let's talk about what you really need here. Is one of the key things is you have to have a shared vision, and with different teams and different goals, and the ability to communicate this vision is really key. And one of the key things is you want to be able to understand what's important and what's not important, and like even from building your MVP or to going out and getting customer feedback, improving the product, etc. And when you're hiring, you have to be able to index on one of the things we look forward to is the key attribute is the ownership and accountability, and that's really important. And for a highly scalable team, you have to build a set of leaders, and you actually have to have almost everyone needs to be able to be a leader on their own. And so creating this base, so you've got a set of leaders, and there are other people who can step up, and then also individual contribute. That's really important to a startup, is that everyone can be productive on their own, and as well as productive in the team. And this showed, especially in remote work environments, and being able to be distributed, being able to kind of have a high level of ownership, and where you can contribute to the product individually and as well as on a team basis. And the way you do that is kind of create limited set of boundaries, but create some processes and guidelines that allows them to have a wide range of kind of movement that allows to them to innovate on their own, and create really creative ideas, and be able to contribute to the product very efficiently. And this will basically these guidelines are basically a pragmatic way balance between growth and moving fast, and also at the same time having high level of consistency. So what does a scalable tech team look like? One of the key things is you start off with having very open-minded individuals who can be team players, and they kind of can take on, because we're a startup, anything goes, and can be able to take on any task. Thinking out of the box is really critical. And the other important one that I have a high level of conviction on is this ability to disagree and commit. And what this means is you have really strong discussions about topics, so that you can listen to different viewpoints and different aspects and different solutions. And then once you have this conversation and be able to come together on a single solution, and regardless of where this idea came from, or whether you might have had the opposite view on this, to come together and commit as a team, and that's really key. You don't want to have any like discord, ability to come together. The idea is that you want to be able to focus as a team, and but at the same time bring different varying viewpoints, and that aspect is really key. And one of the key things is, and you allow that behavior to thrive by having open communications and having lots of feedback, and processes that allow you to contribute in different ways. And the other important thing is, if you want to scale, you have to have your processes and documentation very well thought out and written down at every process, at every step of the way. And this is important because you can't rely on meeting. You can't rely on individuals getting together always. You want to be able to have multiple teams, and especially as you grow and break into multiple different individual teams, from when you started off as 10, now you're 80, and then you're 200, 300. You've got to have great set of processes and documentation that enables teams to be able to scale. And one of the key aspects of it is you do want to have multiple subject matter experts. You don't want to have the one person that knows everything about a system. So you got to be able to, in order to be able to scale, you got to have redundancy. So to that, you have to cultivate multiple subject matter experts on the same information, so you have a overlap on this. And then the sixth point that I have is if you want to look for people who are very goal oriented, and the other part is they know what they want to get, they know what the company needs to achieve, and so they can, and then you want to have that aligned. And then you're looking for individuals who stress learning, the ability to grow, build new things, and they quickly get bored. You don't want to have people get bored too quickly, but the attribute that they want to continue to consume and develop new ways of thinking and new technologies, etc. This is something that is really important to me. Even now, I take pride in trying to consume as much information as possible. And then more importantly, everybody is customer centric. As a startup, you're going to be building your systems and product around feedback loop that customers are giving you, and that's really important. And especially in the early days, and then this is something you continue to build into your team, is listening to the customer. So everybody early on is a customer support, and then that DNA kind of continues to build, and so you're incorporating really quick feedback from the customers, and more importantly, you're building systems that delight the customers. And and that's key. So let's talk about some of the challenges that you come across when trying to build a very scalable team. Is obviously there's lots of companies. There are big companies like Amazon, Microsoft, and Google around you who are sucking up talent, and so there is a shortage of talent. And so, how as a startup, you do face this problem of trying to find team members that fit within your culture, fit within the what do you call the DNA for building the idea that you want to build a high performing team. So there's definitely that, and then hiring process can be very long. It can be months, and before while you go through lots of different candidates, and then once you even find someone, they may have a long notice period. Could be 2 months, 3 months. Depending on what geographic location you're in. So it's definitely a challenge. And so you kind of have to get in front of that and be able to organize and predict when you'll need resources. And it's a and the key thing here is you should be continuously hiring, and not wait until you need someone and need it's a need, rather than kind of have a flow of resumes, flow of candidates, etc. And the other problem is, as the team gets bigger and bigger, you do have this loss of focus. Early on, it's very easy to cultivate kind of you're talking one-on-one to team members. You're having more people join the team. You're having multiple layers, and so you can have the issue of loss of focus, and that you avoid that by creating a really clear communication, and then build a crisp mechanism so that the information can flow all the way through. And then the more importantly is, like, if you've got the right leadership in place, they can also disseminate the information and be able to focus the team. And as you grow and as you add more team members, onboarding becomes an issue, and we saw this. Especially, it was exacerbated by conditions from COVID, and we're remote. We were really not ready to some extent on having a remote onboarding mechanism, and so that's a challenge that we had to kind of come up and solve really quickly in order to be able to grow during in the last year and a half. And then one of the biggest challenges is, like, I think startups many times it's not really due to like funding, etc. One of the biggest key failure points on startups is that teams kind of implode from within. They can't build. Their chemistry is lacking. There's a loss of culture, or there's a lack of culture from the beginning, which is one of the key attributes that are not, that doesn't let your team scale well. And so you got to kind of be aware of the team, aware of what's happening, keep a pulse on it. And I talk about, I'm very open and transparent, and being able to talk to the team and talk to the leadership, and have kind of create the early alert and early warning systems to know where when things are going wrong and rectify them really fast. And that's really important. And obviously, the geographic constraints for global teams has its own challenges. We've had our own challenges. We're continuing to overcome these in different ways. Initially, you think of like one or two global teams, and then once you have remote work, you have everybody spread out. So you immediately have to kind of solve the problem of being very disconnected and disjoint where you're not coming into one location. And then the last one is this macro environmental conditions. Lots of things can happen that can affect your team. And COVID was one thing. It could be funding. It could be financial. It could be like performance and sales, etc. that are impacting the team. And so you have to be able to kind of look at all these things and think about and be aware and make continuous adjustments and making sure that you've got a really healthy team. So the key thing is once you've built a scalable team, you can look forward to shipping high quality products with high velocity, and that's the real goal. And that growth builds on and layers on top of each other. So as you're able to ship one version of your high quality product, your team gets learns the ability. They understand the kind of the challenges, and they also get the reward of doing this. And that's really important. And as you're on your way to be able to do that, you got to be able to be agile and understand. And what worked for us may not work for others along the way. And so you have to kind of figure out what fits your team members and your product the best. And in order to sustain the scale, you got to coach your current leaders, and you got to develop your new leaders continuously. And what I like to say is like have a bench that's super strong, and that's really important. And it all starts with the leadership, and you got to prepare the team for growth and have a really articulated vision of where the company is heading, what are the quarterly goals, what are the semi-annual and annual goals, and the long-term 5-year vision or 10-year vision of what the company is going to be, and everybody needs to be able to align on that so you can grow really fast.
Thank you so much for that, Yadhu.
Right.
That was an amazing presentation.
Okay, thank you.
So we have come to an end. To the audience that is part of the session, Yadhu, once again introducing him, is the CEO of Esper. You can reach out to him via Twitter. You can tweet to Espers Twitter handle and tag SaaS Insider along with it if you have any questions. Right. So again, Yadhu, thank you so much for being part of the session. Unfortunately, it has to come to a hard stop now.